All in all, we were pretty fortunate with the fires. I make my wine down at a facility in St. Helena, which was unaffected, and I store my wine down in a large warehouse and so all of our case goods. So our overall operation wasn't severely impacted, unlike some of our neighbors up here on the mountain, which was a pretty tragic event up here for sure. We have to keep moving forward, right? And so we have our use permit to build a winery and taste room. That's the next step, I think there's been I guess what it is about a year and a half post fire, and I've spent a lot of time, clearing the forest and cleaning up, and I feel like just in the last couple months we're kind of coming over that hill, and now moving towards okay, now we can continue to build. Now we can move forward, and it's taken me longer than maybe others. Sherwin Family Vineyards started rebuilding their winery, within a couple of months after the fire,
wow.
And
good to hear.
Yeah, they were just kind of got right at it, but I didn't have a winery here yet, and so after the fire, needed some time to really digest and figure out what we're going to do. And it kind of, after out of 112 acres on this property, about 110 of them burned to a various degree, and so it was quite a bit of cleanup and processing and going, okay, what are we going to do with this? And I think we're at a good point now. It's been a lot of fun to sort of kind of carve out and envision what this place is going to be in the future. That pre-fire it was much more difficult to visualize. I knew I wanted to have some vineyard over here, but at the time it was a huge forest, and I didn't really know that if I had the stomach to take that forest out to convert to vineyards.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of, and it's tough. It was beautiful forest. I didn't. But post fire, when it's gone, it burned, blackened forest. Yeah. It's just a little easier to go, okay, well, what's the next step for part of the property? And the vineyard is going to be incredible. It's a beautiful soil, the rock structure, the aspect, everything has great potential, and then there's still a majority, most of the property is going to remain as forest, and we're learning how to sort of to manage that, and I've learned a lot about how to take care of what's left behind where the trees didn't die. The whole understory burned, but the trees are still alive, or at least most of them. Yeah. And so it's about kind of protecting and managing and preserving that section. And then the part that, we need to work with up here, between the winery and planting some vineyard is now kind of something we're able to really move forward on. Yeah, I guess I didn't really know there was a top of Spring Mountain until I set foot on this property. And it was in early 2015, and I was looking for kind of a future home for Terra Valentine, where we were going to, plant our flag and kind of create a new estate, 2.0. And my wife and I came up here and saw this view. And, I spent my whole life in St. Helena on Spring Mountain, born and raised at the bottom of Spring Mountain Road. And I never really understood, I never really been to the top where you could see in all directions, and including out to the Pacific Ocean. And it really changed my whole perspective on Spring Mountain and sort of the terroir, the climate, what makes it tick up here, and just fell in love. I just was blown away by this vista, being right at the border between Napa and Sonoma, and be able to look, down into the valley floor in one direction and out to the Pacific Ocean over the Petaluma Gap in the other direction. And just continually feeling really lucky to be up here and have landed at this spot. Oh yeah, my first jobs were at wineries, working on bottling lines as a kid, and working with my dad then through my teenage years, and then starting at Terra Valentine is my first full-time job out of UC Davis. And it's wild. I still have the same email address that I've had. And I'm one of the few people that have had the same email address for 23 years. I kind of try to do what I'm doing with a low-key kind of attitude, I mean, I really enjoy what I do. And it's hard work, it's unbelievably hard work, and the challenges in this business and in this area. But, I think a lot of it is sort of the frame of reference around it. And I like to have fun and work hard. And I think that hopefully that'll keep me young. I love having that insurmountable list of tasks, that you'll never get through. And that does drive me. I don't do well when there's not a lot to do. And I think part of that is why, I wanted to take on a project like this property, is because there's never not something to do. And I love that challenge. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there's certain days where I'm like, man, this is crazy, so overwhelming. I'm never gonna get this done, but that's usually for reasons that are more in my head than in actuality. And so you just kind of keep plugging away and come back at it the next day. The whole glitz and glamour part of Napa Valley, I didn't grow up with that. I mean, growing up here, the farmers drove pickup trucks, and you ate at the family diner restaurant, and so I've always had that kind of perspective here, and I think I've always kind of struggled with the amount of kind of glitz and glamour and fame and fortune that has moved into this area and has changed the business and created that, the competition that isn't really the same as, like, I'm not competing with someone doing exactly what I'm doing. These are kind of whole different types of businesses. That being said, the glitz and glamour has brought in a huge amount of amazing talent and these great restaurants and tourism, and so you kind of have to have a little bit of that in order to have made Napa Valley what it is. We need people coming in that are looking to collect wine and have these amazing experiences and eat great food and experience the Napa lifestyle. And but there's something for everybody, and that's what I think I've been able to sort of find my niche and say, hey, I can keep doing what I'm doing and they can keep doing what they're doing, and we can coexist. And those people that are coming to visit Napa Valley can do both as well. They can come and go through the amazing barrel cellar and see the fancy car collection and the art collection at these beautiful architectural masterpiece wineries. And then they can also come up Spring Mountain Road and hike around a ranch and enjoy a glass of wine, out in nature to a certain extent, and feeling the dirt, getting themselves getting their feet a little dirty, and so I really am comfortable with the niche I've found and just love doing what I'm doing. And then there's days where I hate this, I mean, there's days where I absolutely am like, what am I doing? This is insane. But again, those are the days you power forward, and those are the days I typically spend a few hours on my excavator, and I feel a lot better after that. Yeah.
That's kind of it. Well, it's a therapy thing.
Well, I nicknamed her my therapist, so I'd say, I'm going to go spend a few hours with my therapist. And, I'd clear out some burned out brush, and I'd go, I feel a little bit better now. This is a legit tiny home, yeah.
Which you can see there are stairs behind him.
Yeah, going up to my office.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, actually.
I mean, and you can't really stand in the office. You kind of have to hunker for a little bit to get over to the desk. But once you're sitting at the desk, the view from up there is pretty amazing. It feels like being in a cockpit of a 747. Really? You're like up there. The full windows around, and at the desk, and kind of central command doing all the work. Right. The paperwork. The busy work that goes along with this business, but being able to look out, watch the storm coming in. Okay, there's a storm brewing. You can see the cells of, rain kind of moving in from the northwest, and so it's dynamic up here. I mean, there's in some days it's kind of almost overwhelming how dynamic it is up at the top of a mountain. But we got this tiny home here to be our central command office, which is what the house that was up here served. served prior to it burning down in the glass fire. And it was honestly, it was pretty amazing to be able to be back up here on this property. Just I think it was about 4 months post fire, we were able to be back here, running the wine business out of this location again. It's terravalentine.com. It's woefully not updated. But it's one of those projects. It's on the list, Ray. We'll get there. You can follow us on Instagram at Terra Valentine Wine. You can give us a call. We're here. Rebecca, Director of Sales and Marketing, is always around, myself, and we're a small but mighty team. And if you call, most likely you'll get an answer from me.